Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry, just getting adjusted here. Welcome back to the second half of our story about Momotaro Pt2. For today's tea and story combination, I actually have something a little different than the last couple times. Instead of brewing a cup of hot tea, I will be trying out some of my home brewed kombucha. I've been working on this for like the last couple weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks. I have 2 different flavors here, blueberry and peach. So we'll see how those came out. This is my first time actually trying to infuse the kombucha with fruit. So we'll see. Hopefully it won't, make me sick or anything. I don't think it will. But there is always that risk with home-brewed, home-fermented products. So, alright. Let's open this tea up. Okay, so trying to debate which one I should try first. So, more about these kombucha jars. Gotta spit my gum out. Okay. So, what you're seeing here in these jars is basically like the last phase of the fermenting process, which is really just, it's not like a necessary phase, but okay, this is like really tight. There we go. Definitely smells like kombucha. Just slightly vinegary. Okay, so this last phase, which is the third phase, or at least what I like to call it, is supposed to be the anaerobic phase. Which means that it's a phase that happens without any air, sans oxygen. So that's why I had the caps on these jars, because what that supposedly does is let the carbonation build up, and you can kind of see the carbonation here in this glass. See? It lets the carbonation build up in the fluid, and also if you put fruit in there, then it's letting the fruit flavor be infused into the tea. So here goes nothing. Ooh, that's really good. Wow, I brew some good kombucha, I have to say. It's very lightly fizzy. It's not super carbonated like drinking a soda. It's it's definitely, you know, a light carbonation, kind of more like what you'd get with like mineral water. Yeah. That's pretty good. So you can see that the fruit like change the colors. So the tea itself is kind of more like a caramel color. At least the way that I brewed it was like more a caramel color. And then obviously like the fruit changed it, so like this turned more like a reddish purple from the blueberries, and then this one turned like a, you know, like a yellowy orange from the peaches. Yeah, and it's not too vinegary either. Just like I like it. It's like just slightly vinegary and still slightly sweet. Which is kind of like you have to time it right, you know, for as like how long you let it ferment for. These ones fermented for like 6 or 7 days. Yeah. Okay. So we'll try the peach really quick, and then we'll get to our story. Okay. Open this one. Man, they're like really tight. There we go. I think I squeezed them on there really, really tight just to make sure that there was no air. Because like I said, it's an anaerobic process, you know, so that it can carbonate. Otherwise, if you don't get a tight seal, then, you know, the air will just escape. The carbonation will escape. Doesn't matter which one I had. Okay. I think that was the blueberry cap. That was the peach cap. Right. Cheers. That's really good too. It's like refreshing. Yeah. It's like that kind of citrusy peach light kind of flavor. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, let's get to our story. Momotaro Peach Boy drinking peach kombucha, which is appropriate. Just set my jars aside here. Alright, so continuing our story about the warrior Momotaro, we left off Momotaro had found out about the ogres that came to pillage the villages, and he had a dream about it and decided that he was going to go and fight these ogres, well, all by himself, except that as he traveled to the inland sea, he met a dog who wanted to join him. He met a monkey who wanted to join him and help fight. He also met a bird who wanted to help him fight the ogres. And this is where we left off, where They reached the inland sea finally. So late that day, they reached the shore of the inland sea. Momotaro and his companions stared in dismay. Before them spread a vast, heaving ocean. "We will make camp here tonight," said Momotaro quietly. "In the morning, we will build a boat." He passed a ration of kibidongo to each one of his friends and ate a piece himself. At dawn, the forest echoed with the sound of falling timber. As the trees fell, the giant dog's sharp teeth cut through the branches. The monkey tied the planks together with vines, which the pheasant had flown down from the mountainside. Late in the afternoon, all was ready but the sail for the boat. Momotaro said, "We will use our banner as a sail." Each took a corner and pulled. To their surprise, the silken banner easily stretched into a big, billowing sail. For one day and one night, Momotaro and his 3 companions sailed across the inland sea. Before dawn of the 2nd day, the pheasant soared above the ship to scan the horizon. Then he saw Ogre Island, the home of the dreaded Oni. It rose dark and rocky out of a pounding surf. Momotaro sailed the ship silently through the breakers. "Fly to scout their stronghold before the sun is up and the ogres awake," he ordered the pheasant. Monkey leapt ashore and climbed the rock wall. Running to the heavy gate, he pulled back the locking bar from inside. Oh, he's right there unlocking the door. The gate swung open. Its rusted hinges screeched loudly. The 2 sleeping Oni guards awoke at once to the sound. They grabbed their great iron clubs and began swinging wildly at the monkey and at Momotaro. In a flash, the giant dog bit off the guards' heads. Red, blue, and green ogres came running from every direction. With his katana, Momotaro warded off the attack. The dog snapped and chewed. The pheasant pecked at the ogre's eyes with his sharp beak, while the monkey ran from wall to wall, hurling rocks down on the ogres' heads. The sleepy Oni, certain that Momotaro's army must outnumber them, tried to escape. Momotaro, the dog, the pheasant, and the monkey forced them all off the cliff top. They were dashed to pieces on the rocks below. Only the chief of the ogres was left. He was pale and hairy. the same one that Momotaro had seen in his dreams. Begging for his life, the Oni chief unlocked the treasure room. "Spare me, O Momotaro-san," he cried, as he wrenched off his horns, the source of his evil power. The plunder of 1,000 years crammed the treasure room. There was turquoise shell, pearl, coral, jade, and a magic coat which made the wearer invisible. On a special chest was a wonderful mallet that could turn anything it struck into pure gold. "We will use the swift ship of the Oni to go back home," said Momotaro. "The treasure and the captive goes with us." They spent weeks on the way home. The treasures stolen by the Oni were returned to their original owners. The pale Oni chief, stripped of his power, withered away. At last, Momotaro returned to his own village. Oba-san and Oji-san came eagerly to welcome their son home. They could not restrain their tears of joy and pride. Momotaro built a castle for the village with his portion of the unclaimed treasures. For his brave companions, the giant dog, the monkey, and the pheasant, he gave loyalty and protection. And for his parents, he took tender care of them all the rest of their days. So that's the end of our story, and here in the back pages they have some interesting information about some of the items in the story. So I'll go ahead and just read about some of these things to you. Yeah, okay, let me do this first. Okay, just so we can see everything. So it says an introduction to things Japanese. So the first item we have here, item A, is a long sword called a katana. It's something that I think a lot of us are familiar with. One of the most well-known Japanese weapons. It says, hung from a sash and worn with armor. The power of a samurai is represented by the quality of sword that he owns. Over here we have item B, which looks like a shorter version of a katana. Let's see what it says. A dirk, or the Japanese word is a koshi gatana. Koshi gatana with small knife in scabbard. Okay. I don't know what the small knife is, but that's all it says for item B. And C here is Momotaro's banner that he used as a sail in the story. It has a peach on it, which is appropriate. That, you know, that's why his name is Momotaro. Momo means peach in Japanese, and because he was born out of a peach, his name became Momotaro, and that's his little symbol there. So it says here for letter C, it says battle flag with peach, coat of arms, and Japanese characters #1 in Japan. Oh, that's what this says. #1. So this means 1 here, which is Nipponichi no Kibidango was one of the things that they were eating here. These millet cakes. Nipponichi no Kibidango, which translates to, wait, let me find it. It's easier for me to break it down when I can read the words. Because they always ask, is that Nipponichi no Kibidango or here Nipponichi no Kibidango? So it's like Japan's first Kibidango is like the word for the rice cakes. Ichi is like #1, right? Yeah, so it's like saying Japan's #1, Japan's best rice millet cakes, something like that. Yeah, so this kind of just would be like the actual Japanese sort of symbols used to indicate Japan's best. #1 in Japan. Okay. So the next one is letter D. This very long, sort of riveted club. What does it say here for letter D? Oh, it says an iron club called a kanabo, used by the ogres. Yeah, I saw that in some of the pictures, right? Where is it? Yeah, so here's, it almost looks like it's made of wood in these pictures, but it says here that they're made of iron. Alright. So letter F is right here by this pink coral. And it says, well, for this section here, it says Oriental treasures were traded between Japan, Korea, and China in ancient days. So for F, it says coral used for jewelry. For G, we have a tortoise shell used for combs and ornaments. H here is indicating the swords in a porcelain jar, a giant like vase. It says ancient Japanese, Korean, and Chinese swords in a Chinese porcelain jar. And I is this tiny little, looks like a little kettle or something here. Gold or enamel wares. Okay, that's just more general. J is, oh, the magic hammer. This is the magic hammer they were talking about in the story. The one that turns everything to gold that it hits, which, oh, it's right here. It's hard to spot in the illustration because there's just so much detail, right? But that's the hammer that they were talking about. So K is the magic robe and cap, which that was the robe they were referring to that I guess supposedly makes the wearer invisible. And oh, we missed E. We'll go back to E in a second. K, we already did K. Looks like they got these backwards. Because E's down here. Okay. So E is this image here. And it says the wooden mortar and pestle for making millet dumplings, also known as kibidango, millet dumplings. And then also the millet dumplings themselves, described as boiled millet grain is pounded and formed into little balls here. Yeah, that sounds good. I want to eat some of that right now. Okay, and then the last item on this page is this scroll image here. It says it's an ancient Japanese or Chinese painting. Other treasured items are jade, fine silk, cloth, bronzes, and sculptures. So this is just one of the things that would be considered treasure. Okay, and so on this page, we have Momotaro and some of the items that he adorned in the story. So at the top here it says Japanese armor is characterized by a flexible, lamellar construction. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, lamellar. Of small pieces of lacquered iron strips tied together with leather or silk bindings. This gives the samurai the needed body protection and mobility lacking in heavy, rigid European armor. So for item A, we're looking at this illustration here, the bow and arrow. Bow, arrow, and carrier, the arrow carrier. The grip on the Japanese bow is below the center for ease in usage on horses. Below the center. I'm trying to imagine how that would make it easier, because obviously if you're on a horse, you're aiming like lower if you're shooting people on the ground. Oh, because I guess if the grip was in the middle, then you'd have to angle your bow that much lower, and then like probably the bottom part of your bow would be like the horse would be in the way. I don't know. I wish it explained that more. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so for item B here, we have a fan with the peach emblem on it. And it says metal ribbed fan called a tesson, capable of a painful blow. This could be used as a weapon too, because it's made of metal. Okay, so C, we're looking at the helmet. It says a helmet called a kabuto with dragon's head. Oh, the dragon head on the front. D are these shoulder and neck pads. Well, that's all it says. It just says they're shoulder and neck pads. For E, looking at the arm bracers here, it says iron strip lined arm sleeves. F, cuirass called a do or body armor. And G says sash or belt. It's really pointing out, I don't know, more obvious items. Oh, I just noticed that his pants have peaches on it too. That's pretty cool, man. I like his pants, they look rad. H. What is H pointing to? Thigh pads. Oh, I guess they're like underneath the do. I here is pointing to his breeches, or breeches. Also called hakama. And J is the shin braces here, which it says armored shin guards. And K is his foot armor. It doesn't really explain more than that. just his foot armor. I don't know. I don't see the armor part of it. L is pointing to his swords. So he has his katana and his, what was it called? His, koshi katana. Koshi katana is the shorter one, and then that's the katana. And last, we have the millet dumplings, the kibidongo, in his pouch. This little pink pouch here. Yeah. So that's it. I guess I could read a little bit about the artist, since the illustrations are really impressive in this book. So it says George Suyeoka was born and raised in Hawaii. A McKinley High School student, he went on to graduate in 1953 from the Art Institute of Chicago. He is that rare combination in a world of art, a fine artist, designer, illustrator, all at the same time. His primary interest is in the fine arts, drawing, painting, sculpting, and print. He's married with two children and now lives and works in Chicago with an office and a studio in Michigan, on Michigan Avenue. Suyeoka's work has been published and exhibited worldwide, including the American exhibit in Moscow, Communication Arts Magazine, American Federation of Art traveling show, and numerous one-man exhibits. In the field of illustrations, his principal work has been done for Scott Forsman and Company, Encyclopedia Britannica, Harper and Row, and Island Heritage, plus others. And there's some kind of song here at the back. You know, I'm not very good at reading music, so I don't know what the melody is. Maybe, if any of you out there can read music and interpret this song, we can, sing it. But actually, it has the translation here. I can read you what it says. I think. Oh, yeah. So it says, Momotaro-san, Momotaro-san, you have lots of buns with you that I like so much. I would like to go with you. Would you give me one? That's pretty much what the dog and the monkey and the bird were saying, like, throughout the story. It's an interesting sort of theme being repeated there about, like, you know, him having these rice cakes are very significant to the story, and everyone wanting it and making a trade for, you know, providing services or help in order to get their hands on this Japan's finest kibidongo, right? So the rest of the song says, I will give you one, I will give you one, if you only come with me to the ogre's island. I must go and fight with them until the last one's gone. Then the next verse says, let me go with you, go and join your band. I will go along with you wherever you may go. I will join your band and go along as your right hand. Next verse. Come on, all you troops, come and get in file. Charge, advance, attack, you troops. All together now. March forward, smash the ogre's isle. We have beaten them, watch them run away. They have lost the battle and the hidden treasure too. We will take the treasure home and celebrate the day. And the last verse says, Momotaro-san, cheer, cheer, cheer. Monkey, dog, and pheasant too, sailing, sailing home. Heave ho, off they go. Their land is free from fear. Very interesting. I don't know if that's like a traditional Japanese story or just something that was written by, I think we read at the beginning. What did it say? From the author, for my wife Irene, my daughter Mia, and son Jen, I hope will experience the joys I felt as a child reading Japanese folklore. So it definitely seems to be inspired by traditional Japanese folklore, even if this story itself might not be that. It might be like a culmination of different stories that the author read growing up, it sounds like. So anyway, that's Momotaro. I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of my peach kombucha here. I definitely plan to do more tea and story sessions. If you have any suggestions for good books for tea and story time, I'm definitely looking for books that maybe have some illustrations, but not all pictures, but has enough like actual story to read too. Would be good, would be ideal, I think. So yeah, if you have any ideas for good stories to read, just leave a post and I'll check them out. Cheers, and we'll see you next time.